My name is Luke Widener, and this is one of my teammates. His name is Matt. Matt has diabetes. So when Matt goes to his diabetes doctor, called an endocrinologist, they review Matt's last few months of data, and they might find some spikes or drops in Matt's blood glucose. But when they see these, they have no idea what caused them unless Matt remembers exactly what he ate and did at 3:35 p.m. 25 days ago. On top of that, the endocrinologist doesn't have enough time to get much useful information out of the data anyways. On average, they only have about 15 minutes before each patient to go through months of data. So we think that endocrinology clinics will buy analytics software to assist them and their patients in discovering contextual factors that impact blood glucose levels. Our solution is a software platform we call EndoTrend that integrates blood glucose data with activity, health, and dietary data to give a holistic view of the events and trends that impacting diabetics' blood glucose. So this is our EndoTrend prototype here. There's a couple things I want you to pay attention to. First is this blood glucose graph up the top. So it's going to show Matt's blood glucose levels throughout the day and where he is in his range. So this white range is the good range, the yellow high, red very high, and that's this time in range stat over here as well. So that's the goal for diabetics, is to optimize that time in range stat to stay in the good range as long as they can. And then we have our events view down here. So this is going to show your food, activity, sleep, and insulin data throughout the day. And this is all Matt's real data here. So he's been tracking his data through a couple apps that I'll talk about here in a second. But we can see if we go back in history or if we go forward, all of Matt's data is here, and which is the 30th because it's a good example of a day. So all this data is coming from Matt's connections here. So if we go up to his connections, we can see he's got Dexcom, his glucose monitor, Garmin, his watch to track his exercise, and MyFitnessPal to track his nutrition. If he wanted to add a connection, he could come in here, add a connection. This is going to open up Terra. We use an API called Terra that essentially allows us to super easily connect a bunch of health and fitness APIs. If we wanted to connect Fitbit, we would come here, hit the connect button, come into Fitbit, and sign in with your email and password, and then you would check a couple boxes that says, hey, EndoTrend, you can have our data, and you come back and Fitbit would be in here. So now we'll take a little step through Matt's day. So he slept for 5.5 hours. Fun fact about this day, actually, Matt slept for 5.5 hours and went on a cycle for 5 hours. So take that as you will about Matt, but we'll go through his day. So he started off, he ate breakfast at 9:25. His blood glucose spiked a little bit. And then he came down while he was cycling and then got some snacks, went right back up, down again, got dinner, and back up. So you can kind of see, obviously, food is going to take your glucose up and exercise is going to take your glucose down. That's nothing special. That's a trend about diabetics as a whole that people have known forever. There's a couple things, though, that are special about EndoTrend. So first is that this is Matt's actual data, and this is not anything about diabetics as a whole. This is how this affects Matt. Second is there's going to be things that we can't see easily like that, like the food and exercise trends, but things that we have to analyze analytically to see. So in that case, this is where trends come in. So our analytics engine is going to find these trends. Matt has 4 new trends in here, and we can take a look. So we can see an example, a run-delayed blood glucose drop. So when Matt goes on a moderate/intense run, his blood sugar drops around 20 milligrams per deciliter to put him out of range around 30 minutes into the run. So we can see all of these types of things, and if you wanted to see your nutrition trends, you can see these. There's going to be all sorts of trends that are recognized specifically for you. And you can share these with your endocrinologist, or you can get reminded of when we think this is about to happen to you. So for all my fellow software nerds, here's how this is implemented. We have our front-end website and app in React. It's hosted on AWS Amplify. And then we use a little bit of Tari, which essentially puts it in a web view for mobile. Then we have our backend API, database, and connections. And what happens is we set up a webhook on our backend. All of our connections, when we get new data, are going to send data into that webhook. That's going to save it to the database. And then whenever we want to pull data back into the front end, we take it back up from the database through the back end into the front end. So we can make money off of this in 2 ways. First is we charge endocrinology clinics a subscription to use the product and offer it to their patients. This is how we would originally go to market. The second is the one we think is really interesting. We just need a customer base to start this up. Basically, we're providing a service to people, a service that people want to use, and we're offering it to them for free. What we get is a big data set that's really useful because it's not just blood glucose data, but it's all the contextual activity and dietary data. So now we can sell this information to researchers whose biggest problem is getting large data sets like this. Not to mention, this could also tangentially help researchers create more diabetes-related innovations. At the end of the day, EndoTrend could end up helping a lot of people just like Matt. Thank you.